Hey, good morning, guys. Are we live? This is my first live stream. Welcome to my channel, Noel Lee, and I am Noel Lee. I vlog about my experiences, my critical thinking, and I recount my life. I'd like to extend a great, warm thank you to all my subscribers that I've gotten within this month that I've just started my channel. Your support and your appreciation it means the world to me. You know, I really enjoyed all the comments. I appreciate everyone inputting their thoughts, their well wishes, their encouragement, and I really appreciate every single one of you. It gives me great uh, encouragement to want to do more from now on and in the future to bring more good content that you enjoy. Welcome to my first live stream. And in this live stream, I have met a new friend on YouTube. Her name is Fang Fang, and her channel is FranklyFang. I have her channel description in the link below, the description in the link below. So please check out her channel and subscribe. She has great content. Without further ado, I'm going to bring Fang Fang into the studio.
Hi guys.
Hello. Hello, Fang.
Hi,
How are
hi,
you?
hi, Neil. Hi, fine. I'm now in Aksu, in the south part of Xinjiang, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm quite new as a YouTuber, a part-time YouTuber, and actually I'm a reporter. I really curious about Chinese culture,
Mm-hmm.
but recently I found I have seen like people in the whole world really care about my hometown Xinjiang. So I came back more frequently this years. So um, if you have anything about any questions about Xinjiang, just ask me. I will, share my experience with you
Right.
guys.
So maybe you can tell the audience, you're originally from Xinjiang, right?
Yep.
And you can maybe tell them which part of Xinjiang you're from and why did you leave Xinjiang and where did you
Mm-hmm.
go, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I was born in Changji. It's quite near to Urumqi, the capital city of Xinjiang region. It's in the northern part. And I left Xinjiang for Beijing to study when I was 17 years old. Um, and after I graduation from the university, I just became a reporter of Beijing Review. Um, yep. You know, uh, when I left my hometown to Beijing, at the very beginning, people are Chinese people. They're really curious about what Xinjiang really is. Even like 10 years ago, they're not aware of what the life Xinjiang people here lives, and maybe they ride horse or camel to go to school. But in recent years, as people travel to Xinjiang, more and more people travel to Xinjiang. Uh, this kind of questions, I just really hear this kind of silly questions. But as Chinese people, they're getting know about my hometown. I find I find like the people outside of China, overseas, they were, although they're curious about Xinjiang, but there are a lot of misinformation in the world. So I feel like it's my responsibility, my duty to share my experience of living in Xinjiang to all of you guys. Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah, I think I can relate because, the world is so diverse.
Uh-huh.
China is so huge,
Yep.
and there is a part of China that has a different ethnic group that is thriving. And what happened is that, China is able to integrate that group into the entire country. So, I mean, if I can relate, right,
Mm-hmm.
Singapore, although it's
Mm-hmm.
primarily Chinese, but we have the minority groups of Malays, Indian, Eurasians, and we integrate together. We are all a part on this island, Singapore, and that's just the way it is. There is no such thing as it has to be all Chinese or, you know, right? It's an integration. So I think, yeah, for those who don't know, and wonder why there are different ethnic groups in China, well, that's just the way it is, right?
Yeah, I think diversity is quite important. Because I was born here, I was used to see different people, different different ethnic groups. So I really owe my cultural inclusiveness to this region because I started to realize the difference of people in terms of their opinion, their religious beliefs, or the skin of color from a very early age. So even though I don't know why they have this kind of practices, I will show my respect. And at the same time, as I grown up, I will try to learn their practice, learn the reason why they have this kind of behavior. So whenever I go, even outside of China, I will show my respect at the very beginning. I'll try to understand people and their behavior.
Right,
And
exactly.
also,
Now,
diversity mixed people, uh, because we are different. So after we communicate with each other, to each other, we will learn from each other. So, we need, difference.
yeah, I think we might be different on the outside, but we're all the same. We are human beings.
Yep.
We have a mom and a dad. We have brothers and
Mm-hmm.
sisters. We have friends.
Yep.
We enjoy eating our favorite food. We enjoy and the movies. We enjoy having fun. It's the same, but just different, right? So it's important that everybody gets to have the understanding, and not of the fact that because I'm over here or there, then I'm me and you are you, right? I think this is
Mm-hmm.
something that has to be learned from the onset when we are growing up, and this is true, I guess, moral education, and I think this is what I learned in Singapore, right? When I grew up, I never knew that those are Indians, those are Malays, and you got to be careful. No, it's just like these are my friends, these are
Mm-hmm.
my
Yes.
countrymen. So I think
Mm-hmm.
that is so important that everybody should try to
Yeah, I
try
quite agree
to
with. Yeah, so
yeah.
because of the globalization, people we're traveling around the world, we have seen different people, but we also find the similarity between people, regardless of their race, their color, the languages. I like English when I was young, not only as a tool of language, but also I like the culture there. I think because I have learned English, it seems to me like another door to the world. So I began to see the world from a different perspectives, and even in other countries, um, I find some similarities between us, such as love, friendship, and also hate. Some hate,
Mm,
in different countries, they have some similarities.
right. So yes, I think you mentioned about English, and I'll have a point there. It's because I think I'm very fortunate. Again, I'm very fortunate to be born in Singapore and being able to learn English as a first language. When I in the early days when I traveled to China, obviously it was only the Chinese language. So the earliest I traveled to China was back in 1994 when I went to Beijing as a teenager, and I was on a tour group. And the Beijing that I saw was very ancient in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
There is just maybe just one or a few hotels, and in each hotel there is. I remember clearly there were young people. Uh, I think it's Shin or something like that. They were actually trainees. They were actually training to be working in the hotel environment. So back then, obviously all Mandarin, but as you can see, you can speak English now. So obviously, through the years, the Chinese government and system has made English possible as a language so
Mm-hmm.
that we can, communicate with the rest of the world. And the founding father of Singapore, Lee Kuan Yew, made English that language, the first language. He has the foresight to know that we need this language to be able to bridge to all countries, because we will need all countries to help in our prosperity. It is not about just one concentric environment. So I think and language is the most key. Communication is key. Why do we have misunderstandings? It's because we misunderstand the other person. We didn't communicate properly. So with communications being key and having a language that everybody mostly can understand was, I think, the crux why Singapore is successful. So yeah, there you have it.
Yeah,
So
here in
yeah, go ahead.
Xinjiang, students, they learn Mandarin, they learn English, they learn their own language at home. So these students, they're quite, how to say, promising. I guess they have a promising future because this kind of languages. Yeah.
Right. So moving a little bit on to maybe a lighter topic. So can you just tell us, what kind of foods in where you're at are like the most delicacies of that region? Yeah, maybe just let us know.
Mm-hmm. The food in Xinjiang is quite famous in the whole country. Like they're featuring barbecues, pila, like juicy fruits. I enjoyed every meal I have here. Um, and Aksu here, it's quite famous for its apple. The apple here is sweet, crispy, and um, how to say, because of the temperature difference in Xinjiang is quite big, so it's easier for the fruit to have the sweetness into the self. So fruit here is really it's really good, and it's really popular in the country. And because I was born here, so I'm quite used to the food here. And Miao Miao, my friend, she came here together with me, and she just can't stop eating, every meal. And she was like yummy. It's just I can't,
Right.
I would,
Do
yeah,
you want to show the audience Meow Meow? Kevin, does
yes.
Meow want to see
Let me see.
Meow Meow? Where's Meow Meow?
Say hello. Say hello.
Oh, hello, Meow Meow.
This is the first time for her to come to Xinjiang.
Ah, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
and
And where
she
is she
also
from? Where is she?
Oh, she's from Ningxia. I had another episode, we do another video about our similarities because we were both born in Chinese ethnic minority areas. So we have a lot of things in common. And if you want to check more, you can see the other
Sure,
video.
sure.
Yeah.
Right. So you mentioned about apples being like the cash crops in Aksu,
Hmm.
but I also read that cotton is also the cash crop
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Has,
in Aksu.
huge,
Have you
large
been to
area
a
of
cotton?
cotton.
Have you been to a
Sorry?
cotton farm? Have you been to a cotton
Not,
farm?
maybe because it's spring. I've been to urban area here and also rural areas. So along the journey, I've seen a lot of farmlands. But because it's spring, I can't tell if that farmland is cotton land or not. But if it's autumn, I would tell it very quickly. But because it's spring, I can't tell if it's cotton or other like wheat. So it's different to say.
Right.
But I do see cotton factories along the road. Yeah.
Right. So why the reason why I asked about cotton is because obviously and most of our audience know that in recent times, just very recently, there were
Hmm.
claims about forced labor in the cotton fields in Xinjiang. So I wasn't able to visit a cotton field during my 3-day or 4-day trip to Romchi, Kashgar, and Hotan. But I really want to be able to go to a cotton field, to see for myself, the where exactly are the forced labor. So maybe next time when you get back to Aksu, if you
Hmm.
have access to it, we can go together. What do you think?
We can try to find the so-called forced labor camp. But actually, uh, how to say? I think Chinese people, including Uyghur people, were very practical. If people they don't give me money, I will not work for them. It's impossible. And I do ask questions about different people here about like cotton, if they have ever picked up cotton. The other day I went to a school and I talked with a primary school. He's like sixth grades. I asked him if he have ever picked up cotton, ever. And he told me that yes, he do. He sometimes in autumn he will help his families pick up cotton, but it's not an easy job. So he would just work for like 2 hours and he will give it up. So because a lot of farmers here, they grow cotton. So some those, if people, they have, huge areas of cotton, of their, how to say, their skill planting, they have the machine to like how to say, spring bee, like 就是春播的时候，或者说in autumn they will pick up cotton. They use machines, and I asked students if they have ever seen those kind of machines. They said yes. I will upload all these videos I mentioned to my channel, so you guys can check there by yourself later. And I also asked some the parents or like officials. They told me like Aksu, because it's famous for the like the staple cotton, like 长绒棉. So they have been how to say, 就是机械化那个秋收就摘棉花的时候 they have been used machines for at least 5 years. So they're wondering why this kind of narrative has been popular, because they don't know what really happens here. I ask a lot of people, so different ages, they all told me like they don't use people to pick up cotton for years. But if their land is not that big, uh, maybe this kind of machines are not easy for them to work. So people will pick up cotton for themselves. So that depends.
Right. So speaking of this, I'd like to add my own opinion because this term of forced labor, I can tell you, happens in Singapore as well. You know why? Because when I was a kid, my dad, he runs his own company, and he would bring me and my sister to his office to help out with the work, like simple works, like arranging the files and the papers. So, I mean, to us, it is just helping the family because why employ somebody to do it, but we're not paid. So it can be categorized as forced labor because I didn't want to do it, right? And
Yeah,
for example,
yeah.
when my friend, his family owns a hawker stall, so he has a little shop in the hawker center, the food center, where they sell food.
Yep.
So he's going to the hawker center, the hawker store, to help his parents to sell the nasi lemak. So, but he's not getting paid, right? So that isn't that forced labor as well? I mean, so it depends on. It's ridiculous, right?
Remind me of my own experience. I've read some reports that like people were transformed to some other places of China to work there.
Oh, are you freezed? Okay, so Frank
Oh,
Fang Fang
I'm
seems to be
also a
free.
forced
Okay,
labor
okay, good.
because
Okay, hold on.
I was transformed from Xinjiang to Beijing to study and work there for years. And some of my friends, they have come back to Xinjiang to live and to work, and their life it's really amazing. They always travel in different places. Xinjiang is famous for its natural view, but I can't come back because I have settled down in Beijing. So maybe I am also a forced labor. And when I was young, picking up cotton is the, how to say, it's kind of learning for us. And most of Xinjiang kids, we have this kind of experience of picking up cotton. I still
Connection is not so good in Xinjiang, it seems. All right, so Fang Fang, we are waiting for you to come back.
you
So in the
know, the
meantime,
hard work,
oh, okay,
but
sorry.
also the
Go
experience
ahead.
I shared with my classmates. There is a lot of fun there actually. So I don't know, I don't get what the forced labor some media really refer to.
Yeah, I think, I mean, this is a sensitive topic, and it actually brings us back in a day when we're talking about slaves, right? Only slaves are
Mm-hmm.
forced labor because you're whacking them with a whip if they don't move, But then again, it's what we see in movies. It might be documented as such. I'm not sure. We don't know. Haven't seen it for ourselves. We don't know. But I guess that's the only thing that we can relate to as forced labor. I mean, in today's world, it's a modern world. How else
Yeah,
can a person be forced? The only
that's
other
why
forced labor is in a prison, isn't it? When you are a prisoner, you have done the crime and you're doing the time, then you are forced to do things that is against your will. So I think that's the only forced labor in the world. So you just need to check out prisons, and that's the only place I would say that you might have forced labor. What do you
yeah,
think?
yeah. When I first heard of this word, forced labor, you know, or slaves, this kind of terms are really outdated. It's 21st
Hmm.
century, okay. So I don't know why these people will mention this.
All right. So speaking of that, one more thing we need to just clear the air. Clear the air is because during my videos that I've shown on my channel,
Mm-hmm.
I got some comments about, but you didn't go to see the camps, the concentration camps. I was in the city of Romchi, I was in the city of Kashgar, I was in the city of Hotan, but
Mm-hmm.
they said it's cities. Of course, they don't put the camps in the cities. You got to go way out there, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we have in our flight documented some scenes
Yeah.
from above, right? And we
Mm-hmm.
said that most of the land in Xinjiang are uninhabitable. So why would
Yeah.
anybody want to go all the way out there to set up a camp just to put
Mm-hmm.
some people inside?
Mm-hmm.
Does it make any sense, right?
I don't
Have
get
you
it.
seen any camps when you were you grew up in Xinjiang? So have you
Okay.
seen any camps yourself?
First of all, I think there is a contradiction. I've never seen camps. Maybe a lot of people are the same as me. We don't know what camps looks like. The first time I know this word camp in terms of its political meaning, it's related to Auschwitz. And I think it's really outdated. It's really far away from us. And mm, because I never know what camps should be, should be like. So how can I tell it is the camp? And um, I've taken those videos from the plane, from the road I've been through in the urban area, in rural areas. I've taken a lot of one shot videos, and I don't see any building that looks weird. So it's either like you can easily tell it's people's apartment or school or other buildings. It's common to see everywhere. And talking about this, I know like some media wanna um, use these words to describe the educational centers in this region. Uh, how to say? Yesterday I met. I want to share this story with you guys. Yesterday I met.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, a village head. He's Uyghur. Unfortunately, I can understand his Mandarin. I asked him what their life was 5 or 10 years ago, and here's my question. He became a little bit emotional, and he said, um, like 5 or 10 years ago, people in his village they were quite influenced by the how to say like extreme religious people, and these people they're trying to extend their power or their influence to every aspect of people's life. um, for example, as we know, Uyghur people they like dancing and singing, so they will always sing and dance during the wedding. It's their custom, traditional custom. But this was not allowed when they have to invite some religious people to their wedding. And also during the funeral, you know, they were not allowed to cry, even though they have just lost their beloved families. Also, like they were villagers, they were not allowed. They couldn't go to hospitals because those religious people told them hospitals are not halal. You can't go there, and they were not allowed to go, you know, far away from their village because they were told transportation tools, those cars or trains are not halal. So their world, everything was divided into halal or non-halal ones. So I can't believe we're living in the same
I think we
century.
lost the
Okay.
audio.
So where should I begin again?
Having some audio problems with Fang.
Okay.
Audio problems. Can't hear.
How about
Can you
now?
hear me? Yeah. Yeah.
Can
Okay.
you
Okay.
hear me?
Yes. Now we can hear you. Yeah. So please go
So
back
what,
about 2
what
minutes
is the last sentence you heard from me?
about
Where should I?
the halal, going to the wedding, the halal
Okay,
and stuff.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay. So they can't go to hospital because they were told hospitals were not halal, and they can't leave their village because they were told the cars, transportation tools were not halal. So their world, their life was divided into halal one or non-halal. So I just can't believe you know, I can't imagine their life. Where I'm wondering, like, if we were living in the same century, in the same world. So educational centers, you know, for this guy, he told me, like, people graduated from the center, they are quite aware of law and they can defend themselves with law. So it's for them, it's, you know, they're more aware of the law terms compared to those who haven't gone to the educational centers. I think this is quite important because what if people, they know the law, they can protect themselves, right? So that's why I don't get why the educational and vacation centers were just narrated as like camps. So I'm wondering if camps, in the camps, people are learning something, or they will get some skills. So maybe they should, let's go to the village to listen to villagers how they really feel about what they have learned from the centers.
Yeah. You make a very good point, Fang. Because it is as good as like a boarding school. It's as good as even ourselves. Why are we, you know, well, let's put it this way. We are brought up, most of us that view all these things are brought up in developed places. I could only fathom, how could I imagine the people that I met in Kashgar,
Mm-hmm.
the common people, right? They wouldn't have all these, like, I don't see the MacBooks, the iPhones, I don't see this kind of stuff. So they don't really have the access to outside, but they have their phone. They have access to obviously the Douyin and everything that's
Uh-huh.
happening in China. But I'm
Uh-huh.
just saying that they're not maybe as they don't have the thinking that a person that is brought up in the city, in my opinion, would have. And that, I think, is the main thing. Most of all this rhetoric is coming from people who are outside. We're outside in our armchair, in our comforts of our home, saying that,
Mm-hmm.
oh, this place, it's they are they're treating them badly. It's not right. Look at all the conditions. But little do they know. I mean, we were like that maybe years ago, hundreds of years ago, right? Singapore is only 50 years old, 55 years old, right? So, back before that, Singapore was nothing. It was nothing, right? It is from the people that came in and we built Singapore. It needs time. Who
Yeah.
knows? In 50 years, in not even 50 years. People are saying just 10 or 20 years. All these places, look at how fast China is developing. All these places that we see, would be developed. But then again, hold on. I miss the old Singapore. As much as Singapore is developed into a metropolis now, the most beautiful city, but as a Singaporean, a person born in Singapore, I miss the Dragon Playground. I miss the places where I used to play. I want to go back and see. I can't see anymore. It's all something I didn't, it's new. I don't recognize the place. So there is also a limit which go to development, right? You have to preserve certain things.
Yes.
It doesn't mean that everything is developed. And the more you develop, the more you contribute to pollution and all these things and wastage. So there has to be a balance, and I see that balance. I see this, the fact that we are in cities, we must be able to empathize and go to somewhere else that is not a city and not pass a judgment that it is ancient and laid back and rural and no good. No, there is good. The people there are living I was there. I saw the people are living normal, happy lives, right? So that is, to them, is the life. It's like the country mouse and city mouse story, right? If I were to bring these people into the hustle and bustle of a city, they'd be like, what is this? So I think we all have to empathize. We all have to have, yeah. Go ahead.
Understand. People living in cities, they want to go to countryside to enjoy the natural views. But for people living in countryside, they are curious about what the city life is. So I think that's easy to understand. We just want to see a different world. So people in the city, they traveling to countryside, and people living in remote areas like me, I'm wondering what the city life is. So I'm trying to study hard, and I live in Beijing now. I always want to see what the countryside views is, because living in cities, only see the blocks of buildings, so that's boring. So we always want something different.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to just touch on the fact that how I got to know you is because I was obviously doing the Xinjiang videos, and I chanced upon one of your video, which is kind of similar to mine. Actually, it's kind of surreal because you were traveling from Beijing
Yes.
to Xinjiang
Xinjiang.
in end of February. I was traveling from Shenzhen to Xinjiang start of April, and we both documented our trips on the airport, on the plane, the wing, looking down in the terrain.
Yeah.
Wow, it was like it's like
Such a
it was so
coincidence.
surreal. It's a coincidence. Yeah.
Yeah, I think if you want to just look at Google Map, use Google Map to explain everything, why not I just give you guys the real geography from a bird view, right?
Exactly.
So, mhm.
So speaking of the planes, I understand you have a plane to catch to Beijing.
Oh yeah, today I'm
All
gonna go
right.
back to Beijing.
Right. So we'll have to wrap it up for now. Thank you so much again, Fang Fang, for coming to this stream. Is there anything you want to tell your audience and our audience before we close up?
First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to your channel, and this is also my first time to do a live stream to you guys. And about Xinjiang, I do have a lot of stories I want to share with you guys. If you have anything, if want to talk to me about Xinjiang, anytime, I would be like to share with you guys about my stories and my friends' stories. Yeah. See you next time.
Okay, so with that in mind, I will definitely keep in touch with you. Guys, please go check out Fang Fang's YouTube channel. It's in the description
Thank you.
below. Frankly, Fang, go give her some love. All right, subscribe. And I will be planning, not sure yet, a sequel to Xinjiang. Hopefully, maybe Fang Fang can join me when she's back. Or
Wow.
I'm also planning to go to Universal Studios in Beijing, and I might see you there in Beijing. All right?
Well, we too there.
All right. So until next time, take care. And all right, see you guys.
See you.
Bye bye.
Bye.